All right, here we go. All right, you guys. Well, welcome to our first April Fool's call. I was thinking about what I could kid around with you guys about, but I'm not really much of a joker. So, anyhow, and just for those of you who don't know, today is April 1st. So be careful. Today is April Fool. So make sure you don't get fooled too much. Anyhow, well, you guys, good morning, and thank you guys for getting on the call. I apologize for getting on a few minutes late. I had to move my car before it got towed. We have street cleaning at 9 o'clock, and I was like, oh, darn it. So anyhow, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. So today's call is basically, you guys are going to need a piece of paper and a pencil, because I was thinking one of the things that I've been doing as I've been sharing with you guys on this call is that I am, developing, and maybe I don't know if I told you guys. I think I did. I've been part of the USC Latina Leadership Academy for the last year, and it's been an amazing, amazing experience. But right now, we're currently developing a whole program. It's going to be about 10 to 11 months. That is going to be part of the Latina Leadership Academy, and it's going to be specifically all about entrepreneur intelligence. And they have asked me to lead that program. So I'm actually creating content for 10 to 11 months on entrepreneur intelligence and what does it mean to have those soft skills and why are they so important. So I don't know if I shared that with you guys, but anyhow, I am about to turn in a presentation on soft skills and what does that mean and why is it so important. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to share with you guys. I'm going to share it with all of you guys on the call. So if you guys have a piece of paper and a pencil, you definitely want to grab that. And if you don't, if you're driving or whatever it is that you're doing, make sure you listen to this whole call today and then go back and listen to the recording and draw out the diagram. So, all right, well, first of all, let's go ahead and talk about what is it about soft skills. Why? So, again, every week I remind you guys that the most important thing about your business is you. Actually the most important thing about your life is you. And this morning as I was working out at the gym, I was listening to this audio on YouTube with Bob Proctor, something like that. Anyhow, I thought this was such a great analogy, and he was saying that so many times we want income to change. We want people to change around us. We want our circumstances around us to change, and we work so hard to change them. But what we don't realize is that where it starts is inside. And he stood in front of a mirror in this audio. I thought this was such a great analogy because he goes, it's like looking at a mirror. Not like in a mirror, at a mirror. It's looking at a mirror and then seeing that reflection in the mirror and then wanting it to look different without changing yourself. So he had a brown suit on. He's like, so if I want to look at a blue suit, cannot look at a blue suit unless I change this brown suit into a blue suit. And I thought that was such a great analogy because so many times, we've been talking about this back in September, that it all starts with you. It all starts with what's going on inside of you. Your subconscious mind is literally, the outside world is literally reflecting on what your subconscious mind is thinking, what it's visualizing. And, I know that it's not an easy pill to swallow, okay? I by no means, I feel good about my physical health, but by no means am I at the peak shape of my life like I was, last year. And when I was listening to this audio, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's your family life, your personal life, your economical life, your body life, your relationship, whatever it is, when you look at it and it's not exactly what it is that you want, this audio really hit me this morning. And, here I am talking to you guys about it in September. And, again, I have no problem sharing with you guys my struggles and my personal challenges. And so many times we know something, all of us, every single one of us on this call, we know something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you really get it, right? That you really, really get it. What I mean by that is this. I have been sharing with you guys since back in September how important it is to do a self-reflection, self-analogy, to constantly be self-aware. And trust me, I really get that part, okay? But today's audio took that understanding at a whole nother level. Because as he was looking at that and he was saying, you look in this mirror and you want to change what you're looking at, it's silly to want to change the reflection in the mirror and not change yourself. And he gave some other analogies, which I have to confess I wasn't listening, because at that moment I started thinking for myself, oh my gosh, that's so true. Because I could be thinking, I want to eat better. I could be thinking, I want to work out more. I could be thinking whatever about like these exterior things that I was doing, thinking that they were interior, but the reality is they were just exterior. Until I change my mindset and my mindset alters, then my physical body reflection in the mirror will alter. And I hope you guys sit with that for a minute before we get into the topic of today, because I thought that was so brilliant. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true, because I could eat well, and then I could exercise every single day, and then it could happen like what's happened the last couple of weekends, that I've been traveling a lot, I've been gone a lot, and all excuses are equal, okay, because I've traveled a lot and still been completely on my game plan. But these last couple of weeks, I've been gone a lot. And, every time, like, on the weekends, we have, like, brunch, mimosas, not just one, right, like several. And then Monday comes and I'm like, oh, my God, I feel all sluggish. And then here we go again, right? And so today when I was listening to this audio, I thought that was so perfect. So in other words, in recap, if you want your bank statement to change or whatever it is that you want to change, you really, really, really must start working on your mental mindset, your belief system, like what is going on inside. And if you guys want, I will be more than happy. If you want to text me, I will send you back the link of this audio. I thought this was, it's like 22 minutes. It was brilliantly put, and I'm sure I've heard it before, but for some reason today it was like I was ready to hear it and I really got it. And which leads me to the whole conversation of today of what kind of personality do you have and why is it important? And one of the things that I will share with you is that while you have a self-reflection, a self-analogy, and you start having the self-awareness, it is not enough to just know. Okay? It is so important, and today that was even more clear to me why it's so important to do personal development every single day. Listen to an audio, listen to a YouTube, do something every single day, because even though I have heard that concept and I've even taught it to you guys, for some reason today it really hit me. And it probably is because I was like dragging my butt to the gym today. I was like, oh my God, I did not want to go. I was super exhausted. I'm not even going to say it because this call's recorded, but I had a power drink today, okay? Like I put all kinds of Herbalife products together and I was like, come on, you guys, kick in, and the lift off never fails me, never. But today I was just dragging my butt, and I think the reason being is because, Sunday was a mimosa day, and even though today's Tuesday, my body's still feeling it, and I think that's why I was ready to hear it. So in conclusion, what I'm trying to say to all this jargon is that it's not enough to know, it's not enough to have the self-awareness, it's not enough to even teach it. In my case, you got to keep at it, because you're going to hear the right thing when you're ready to hear it. So, all right, you guys, so enough about that. Which kind of totally goes with the topic of today, and that is, what kind of personality are you, and why is it important? So first of all, let's talk about what is this whole thing about soft skills and interpersonal skills. Here's the thing, you guys. Today's world is not like it used to be. It's not like the mechanical days or the factory days where people would just go to work and they were like machines, like assembly line, etc. Today we're at a whole nother level. Today's necessary skills are no longer just the hard skills. Hard skills referring to, like, let's talk about our business, okay? A hard skill with us would be like knowing how to make a shake, right? You being at a nutritional club and knowing how to make an aloe, knowing how to make a tea, knowing how to make a shake, like knowing how to do things is knowing about the products, knowing about the marketing plan, knowing about the business, knowing about the events, having the events, dates, and locations and times in the back of your pocket. Those are all like hard skills. If you were a construction worker, hard skills would be like how to put a nail in the wall, etc. I think you guys get it. Those skills, while they are very important, will only get you so far. Okay? Because what ends up happening is, yes, you need knowledge, and we have been trained and developed for many centuries that it is so important to know more information and more information. Knowledge is power, right? And going to school is important and all of that. And I'm not saying that it's not. What I am saying is that that knowledge will only get you so far. And you will increase, if you can imagine, if you have a piece of paper and a pencil, I want you to go from the, form a graph, and from the 0 to 0, from the point, start increasing the graph, like up, 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 and then right to the middle of the graph, like it will start plateauing. So all that knowledge will increase your success, your income, if that's a measurable way for you, will increase your success up, 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 and then all of a sudden it's going to get flat. You're going to hit a plateau. And if things don't alter, they might even start to slope down. So it looks like a little hill on your graph. Now, what research has shown, okay, this is a Columbia University study, the Columbia Business University. I've been researching a lot about this for my presentation, and research has shown that they started researching what made somebody reach success. Like even somebody from Harvard or Columbia or MIT or USC or Stanford, those top universities, what was it about somebody that why would they cap out at their success and then even kind of decline a little bit versus somebody that, yes, maybe they capped out a little bit, but then maybe like several months or even a year later, they went right back up again. So their graph would go like a hill, and then a little flat, and then another hill again. What was the difference? And the difference was interpersonal skills. The person that continued to succeed started to develop an emotional intelligence. In other words, they started to be, as we have been talking about this entire time, they started having self-awareness. Okay, and what that starts with is starting to know, who are you? What kind of person are you? And then I'm going to talk about why is that important. So if you have a piece of paper and a pencil, I want you to draw like a graph with 4 quadrants. So in other words, you're going to form like a T, okay? And we're going to go to these 4 quadrants and start talking about what kind of person are you. And then I'm going to explain to you why is this important to know, okay? So let's start with the top left corner, okay? So here I want you. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Make a T. Let's start like this. Let's make a T, and what's it called? Hold on 1 second. Perpendicular. There you go. Okay. So from the left to the right. Okay. On the left, I want you to put ask, assertive. Okay. Ask, assertive. To the right, I want you to put tell, assertive. Okay. Now, to the top of it, I want you to put control, like north. I want you to put control. And at the south part of it, the bottom part of it, I want you to put emote, E-M-O-T-E. Okay? So let's talk about what these 4 things mean. To the left says ask, to the right says tell, to the top says control, to the bottom puts emote, or put emotional if that's probably an easier word for you. Okay? So here it goes. So what you want to ask of yourself, first of all, is this. Are you somebody that's ask assertive? Or are you somebody that's tell assertive? Let's talk about what that means. Now, I'm not asking you, like, what do you think you are, okay? But really, out in the real world, especially when things get confronted, especially when you're in a meeting, what kind of person are you? The ask assertive is a more slower pace. They say fewer statements. They have a more quieter volume. They're not as direct. They're more relaxed. They don't use their hands a lot. When you sit down, they lean back a little more. They have indirect eye contact. And in conversation, they ask a lot of questions. They're the people that if you're in a meeting, they would say, well, what do you guys think we should do? What do you suggest? okay? So those are the ask assertive people. Again, we all wish to be those, but I want you to really think about this. When you're in a meeting, are you a more of an ask assertive or a tell assertive? Do you sit there and do you, like, when you sit down, do you lean back a little more in your chair? Are you more quieter? Are you more observant? And do you have a tendency to ask more questions or ask questions, okay? Now, the tell assertive person is faster paced. They say more statements. They have a louder volume. They do a lot of things with their hands. They're more direct. They emphasize their statements with their hand gestures. And when they're sitting down at a meeting, they more lean forward and they have like direct eye contact. Now, take a wild guess which one I am, right? So I'm clearly a tell assertive person, okay? I mean, just by my tone of voice, I'm very loud, and it's so true. When I'm in a meeting, I recognize that I totally lean forward, like I want to hear what's going on, okay? And this tell-assertive person is not the type of person that asks a lot of questions. I mean, they could, right? But they're more like they tell people what to do. And what this means is, when I heard that, I'm like, oh, man, that sucks. I don't want to be that kind of person. But what it means is this. Like, let's say you're in a boardroom or you're in a meeting. You're about to do an HOM. You're, like, planning the meeting out. And then people are just not really, like, coming up with decisions, right? Everyone's, like, kind of not really putting it together. And the ask assertive person would be like, well, okay, you guys, so time's kind of running out. So what do you guys think we should do? Or the ask assertive person would be like, all right, you guys, the guests are about to come. What do you guys think whatever. They ask something. They want collaboration. They want to ask people to feel involved, right? The tell assertive person would be more like, all right, you guys, the guests are about to come in. Come on, let's get started. And that's totally me, right? Like, I hate to admit it, but, and somebody who's more tell assertive is more like, all right, you guys, time is running out. Let's go. Why don't you do this, you do that, and you start pointing the finger, I guess you could say it's a little more bossy, but it's not so much because they're bossy people, but it's like they want to get things done. Like, all right, enough with the BS, let's go, okay? So that's more the assertive person, okay? Now, I know that all of us are both. There are times when I don't want to say anything and I want to just ask. But what we're asking here is primarily, which one are you? And when times get tough and when pressure gets, like, it starts to get together, like when you start feeling the pressure, which one are you more inclined to be, asking or telling? Now, having said that, let's look at one other component. In the top part of it, we're talking about somebody who's got control. And this is somebody who, when we're talking about control here, we're talking about like you have control of people, control of yourself. It's more like control of your emotions. This is somebody who has more that controls their self-expression. They control how they're perceived. They hold emotions more inside. They rarely show their feelings, and they rarely express those feelings publicly. They make great poker players. Okay, they're more like, even if they're excited, but they're like controlled excitement. Even if whatever, so you guys get the picture, okay? Now, emotional or emote, and I don't mean emotional, emote is really the word, okay? Emote, this person, like, they really share their feelings. They express their everything. They express their joy, their happiness, their anger, their feelings, and it's clearly, they really, show it in their face. So the control person is more monotone. They have more like task subjects and more like facts and data. They use their hands less. They have rigid posture. They really control their facial expression. So I'm not saying that they're like hard as a rock by no means, but they're more like steady, okay? The more emote person, they have a lot of inflections in their voice. They love to hear stories. They use their hands a lot. They have, their casual posture. They're not so rigid, and they're animated with their facial expression. So I think a huge guess which one I am, right? So I'm clearly an emote person. So if you're looking at this graph, okay, now the thing, again, all of us are both, are everything. But here we're talking about which one are you primarily, okay? Now, let's look at this, and let's start dissecting which one are you. So if you are more of a ask person, ask assertive, and you control your emotions, on the top left quadrant, I want you to put there analytical. Okay? Analytical. Now, if you have more, okay, so that's analytical. So you ask a lot of questions, you ask more, and you hold your feelings back. These people here are people, they really are really great about, they're more serious, they're more systematic, they're more like accountants, like they're like, just chill type of people. They ask a lot of questions, they're very observant, and you can never really read their emotions. You're like, okay, are they happy? What's going on with them, right? That kind of people. Now, these people that are analytical, they take a while to make decisions because they have to think about everything, right? Now, if you're also somebody who controls your emotions, you don't really show a lot of expressions, you're control with that, but you're more of a assertive person, which is the top right corner. I want you to put their driver. This is the driver. They're more efficient, they're decisive, they're candid, they're independent. They're like, all right, let's go, let's do this. They're the kind of person in the meeting that you can't really tell, like what they're thinking, what they're feeling. You can't really read them. But then all of a sudden, when time, they're like, all right, let's go, let's do this. It's that person that they stay. Like my brother Eric, he's clearly a driver. Okay, you can hardly read his emotions, but he's somebody that he kind of chills, lays back, and then when it's time to do something, he'd be like, all right, you guys, let's go, let's get this done. That's a driver. Okay. Now, the bottom left corner, somebody who is assertive and who is very emote, they're expressive. Okay, that is clearly me. Very enthusiastic, spontaneous, they're outgoing, they're fun, they're loving. Okay, they're persuasive. All right, they're really fun to be around. I'm throwing that within. They're really fun to be around. Anyway, the point is, this is a person that not only tells you, at a meeting, they're very engaging. Their facial expressions are totally oh yeah, right. It's you can really, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, but at the same time, they when the time gets tough and the time is under pressure, they are assertive. All right, sounds great. Let's go. And they do it with a lot of enthusiasm, okay? Now, the bottom left, which is somebody who's more ask assertive, but they're also very expressive, they're amiable. These are the people, okay, that they're all about cooperation. They're all about being supportive. They're about being diplomatic. They're patient, and they're very loyal. These people are the kind of people that are very excited, and they have very enthusiasm, right? They're very emotive. They really wear their heart on their sleeves. They're very expressive, but they're not the assertive kind of people. They're more ask assertive. They want to make sure that everybody's involved. They want to make sure that everyone's collaborated. They want to make sure, before the meeting is over, they're like, all right, when are we going to meet again? They're the kind of people that want collaboration, they want togetherness, they want to be supportive, they want to support everybody. They really wear their heart on their sleeve. They're very family-oriented, they're group-oriented, okay? So you want to, again, you want to look at which one are you. Now, since the time is running out here, why is this important? Okay, and if you didn't capture all of this, go back and listen to the recording, because you can fast forward just to this section, and really start looking at this. And the reason being is because why this is important is because you must understand who you are, because only through your understanding of yourself can you better understand the people that you're working with. So, for example, I am an expressive person. Diagonal from me, okay, so clearly diagonal for me is the analytical person. This person drives me crazy. I lose my patience with them. I'm like, oh my God, this person's so slow. After doing this research, I was cracking up when I was researching this, because no wonder, I have a hard time working with those analytical people, the people that don't show emotions, and they're ask assertive. And because I'm like, all right, enough with the questions. Let's go. But see, if I understand that that's how I am, that I'm very expressive and that I'm very emote, when I have somebody in front of me who's analytical, immediately, if I, as a leader, you must be willing to learn how to work with different kinds of personalities, because you need them all. You need the Karlas. You need the controllers. You need the drivers. You need the analyticals. You need the amiables. You need them all. And the reason why you need them all in your team is because if all your team is like the drivers that are very controlled emotionally and they just tell you what to do, when you get somebody who's amiable, who's like, oh, why can't we all just get along? They're not going to stick around. See, so it's so important that you understand the different types of personalities so that when Karla gets somebody near her who's analytical, I now know to breathe. See, I was already doing this, but I didn't know that I was doing this. Like, if I get somebody in front of me who's very analytical, they're very slow, they're very controlled with their emotions, they take forever to make a decision, right? They're very, like, chill. Jim Rohn was, I believe, a very analytical person. And he asked a lot of questions, and he rarely showed a lot of emotion in his face. And, see, none of these are better than others, right? But that's just the way he was. And, I mean, I didn't, like, totally have patience with him because I respect him so much. But whenever I get somebody like that in front of me, I was like, okay, Karla, breathe. Karla, breathe. I tell that to myself, right? But now that I was cracking up when I was doing this research, because now I know that when I have somebody who's like that, I'm like, they're analytical. So I now know, Karla, slow down. Let them ask the questions and just answer. What they want to know facts. They want to know data. For them, it's important for me to say, okay, Herbalife has been around, 34 years, and they love the figures. This how many millions and billions of dollars we've done, like facts, data. They love that, right? It's important for me to know that because to me, that is like, I don't even care. I'm like, yeah, whatever. The products work, yeah. What am I going to get? Tell me stories. And that inspires me. These analytical people, they want to know. They want to know that they're doing it right. They want to know that this is the right thing to do, okay? That drives me crazy. But when I get someone like that, I now know that I need to be patient, okay? They really want to maximize their effort. They want to be organized. They want to have minimum concern for relationships. They want to know about, like, history. They just facts and data, okay? So the drivers, these people, they're more swift actions. They're all about cost benefits. They all want to know about the benefits. Like, what am I going to get from this? Okay? They love to solve the problem. Their action progress results, they want to know, like, is this action going to give me progress? Is it going to give me results? They love to, like, just look at everything and then boom, take action. Okay, so if I have somebody, I can totally get along with the driver because although they don't show a lot of expression, they get things done. They're like, all right, let's go. Okay, and they're like teleassertive, just like me, right? The other person, the teleassertive, who does it, who's very expressive, right? The expressive person, they want things fast. They have rapid action. They maximize their effort to get things involved. Okay, they're already on to the next thing. They're talking and they're really engaging with the audience. They're people that are constantly checking in, like, what do you think? But at the same time, they're only asking so that they can tell you what they really think, right? They're minimum concern for routine. Like they don't like this over and over thing. They're like, okay, on to the next thing. They're totally future oriented. And although they're here, they're already at the next thing. Okay, they're at the STS and they're already wondering when is the next STS. Okay, that's the expressive person. Lastly, the amiable person. This is the person that is, they want everyone to get along. They don't have hurried action. They want to maximize their effort to relate. They're the kind of people that really care. How was your weekend? And I'm like, okay, yeah. No talking about weekends. Let's go. These people, they really want to know, how was your weekend? What did you do? They're very engaging with cooperation, okay? So, in other words, you guys have got to realize that there's all kinds of people out there, and when you better understand yourself, when you have somebody in front of you, you'll be better able to understand them, and therefore, if you listen back to this audio, if you understand where they're coming from and what's important to them, then you'll be able to better communicate and better relate to them. So it's exactly 30 minutes call, so I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up by just saying, you guys, really pay attention not only to the kind of person that you are, but really pay attention to what is it that is around you. And when you have somebody that comes to your HOM, somebody that joins your team, take a moment to observe them, to not analyze them like to death, but get who they are and what they're about so that you can better communicate with them in the language that they can understand. And that is going to make you an amazing leader. So with that said, I'm going to end the recording. I'm going to just open up the lines to see if anybody has any questions or any concerns or any comments. So hang on a quick second.